all good.
People ask me every once in a while, they're like, is that a true story? And I'm like, yeah, because I am definitely not creative enough to make up shit like this. So, this is a true story. This is called NPR, or What Happens in Ireland. 1. You have 11 minutes from doorstep to work. 11 minutes of the only quiet you ever get in a day, which is why you rarely even turn on the radio. Though on this morning you will. You'll hear a voice. And the trip will be far longer, ages longer, and the voice will remind you of your house dad who used to say, "Hey, Sarah, Guinness is good for you." Yeah, Dermot? Yeah, a Guinness a day when you're pregnant? Irish babies are so strong. You sure, Dermot? Hey, Sarah, maybe no, but in Ireland is magic. Yeah, Dermot, it is. 2. The first time you saw him, he was walking onto the second level of a double-decker bus. 3 other girls made eyes about how adorable he was. Corn-fed Missouri boy, curly hair, and 6'2". A week later, he was calling you Yukon girl because of that hoodie you wear everywhere. You barely noticed him. Till Aaron. An island set 9 miles off the west coast of Ireland. On that Sunday, you and he and 3 other people whose names you will never remember hiked up rocky crags to the end of the world and stood at the brink of a 200-foot cliff. There you stood in the balance of sea and land and sky, and the next stop on the ocean was America. When you got done being in awe, you looked up in his face, and it was as if you had known him his whole existence. You still try not to believe in soulmates, but for a minute, your 22-year-old self, well, it was every bad romantic comedy, every Shakespeare scene that you have ever scratched your head at and gone, they're in love? When? Just now? Yeah. And at that moment, you would have held his hand and jumped in the ocean had he asked you. That night in a pub so old they played rebel pipes and still spoke Irish, not Gaelic, Irish. That night he would scoop you up right out of your seat and lead you around the room like no man has done before or since. 3. You would not mean to fall in love. You had a boyfriend. This boy is 2 years your junior. Nothing makes sense because he lives in Missouri and you are decidedly an East Coast girl. You will let him walk you to the corner of the street you live on and kiss you goodnight. You will spend Thanksgiving with him in Amsterdam, eating Mexican food. Because, hey, it's North American. You will let him tell you he loves you in the back of a 400-year-old church. On your last night in Dublin in a 4-story pub on the edge of the dirty, dirty Liffey River, he will grab his face in your hands and say, I wanted to love you forever. I wanted to read the New York Times in bed with you on Sunday. I wanted to make babies with you. I wanted to change the world with you. And you will put your hands to his lips and say nothing. Because what can you say when a man gives you your heart and you are afraid of fate? 3 days later, you will tell him nothing makes sense. Kiss him goodbye in the rain, thereby completing the complete movie cliche of your life. Turn around and not look back. Home in the States, you will regret not making sense of it, not looking back in the rain. 4. He will marry his rebound from you. He will marry his rebound. You will try to forget what you didn't do for love. 14 years later, and he will invade your quiet thoughts. He will be introduced on that day you actually decide to turn the radio on. And that 11-minute commute. And now we have Dan Steinberg from the Kaufman Foundation discussing with us the need for entrepreneurship in today's economic climate. His voice, that's all you need to remind you that life is not how you intended it to be. Now that everything makes sense.